HBO's opulent drama The Gilded Age will finally return for its second season on October 29. We understand, though, if you can't quite recall, how the season's numerous plotlines starring a wide cast of individuals came to an end. The season finale aired back in March 2022. Inspired by real events, the show's first season threw its characters through a whirlwind of tales, balls, and even one extremely foolish dance number. In the show, Carrie Coon portrays Bertha Russell, a woman driven to establish a reputation for herself and her family in New York. George, the railroad magnate she married, was made wealthy by new money, and the two of them have two children, Gladys and Larry. Agnes manages the Brook household across the street, attempting to maintain order among her niece Marian, son Oscar, and sister Ada. Playing Peggy Scott, Agnes's assistant, and a rare black woman in their predominantly white environment, is Denny Benton. There aren't a lot of individuals to keep track of when you include in all the servants, the Astors, and the larger New York society. Let's quickly recap the season 1 and the fates of all the characters before we go into The Gilded Age Season 2. Marian experiences a great deal of drama in the first season. She travels to New York and settles in with her estranged sisters, Agnes and Ada, when her father's death leaves her in terrible financial shape. Marian eventually makes friends with a diverse range of ladies while struggling with some of the harsh restrictions, particularly those pertaining to the distinction between the new elite and the established family. Her choice of suitor, Tom, the former lawyer for her family who accompanies her to New York and eventually rises the social ladder himself, is one of her outlandish choices. Marian is prepared to elope with him by the conclusion of the season, but she discovers he has chosen to wed a wealthy Harris instead. With her heart broken, Marian has to decide what to do next. Peggy discovers that her life is intertwined with Marian's and her aunt's after assisting Marian at a train station when her purse is taken. She pursues her journalism career and works as Agnes's private assistant for the majority of the season. It's evident that there is a tense past when she pays a visit to her wealthy family in Brooklyn, particularly between her and her father. As the season progresses, the truth comes to light. Peggy was previously married, but her father made her husband dissolve the union after she almost died, and her kid actually did die while giving birth. In the epilogue, she discovers an even more horrifying fact. Her father purposefully concealed the fact that her son had survived from her. In search of her son's whereabouts, Peggy and her mother headed out. Should The Gilded Age be equated with Downton Abbey, Aunt Agnes would be the Dowager Countess, replete with sardonic one-liners and formal yet poignant observations. Throughout most of the season, she makes a lot of caustic comments about the wealthy Russell family across the street while attempting, and frequently failing, to convince Marian of the value of social hierarchy. It's also strongly hinted that Agnes married Mr. Van Ryn in order to secure her and her sister's futures, and that their union was not pleasant. Towards the end of the season, Agnes is compelled to attend the Russell ball with Ada and Marian. Fortunately, she manages to contain her emotions and put this one in the victory column. For the most part of the season, Agnes's adorable younger sister Ada serves as a barrier between Agnes and Marian. She briefly reunites with an old flame from her youth early in the season, but Agnes sends him packing after accurately identifying him as a gold digger. Ada also makes an effort to give Marian sound advice, particularly with regard to her relationship with Tom. Ada is ultimately the one who discovers Marian intends to elope with Tom, and she makes an effort to highlight the shortcomings of the scheme. Ada tries her best to encourage her niece Marian and assist her in moving on when Marian experiences heartbreak. The focus of Bertha's whole storyline in season 1 is her ascent to the top social circles in New York City. She takes a while to get there. Society's contempt for her and her husband's industrial wealth caused her early attempts to fail horribly. Thankfully, Bertha has George, her railroad baron husband's steadfast support, and the two of them are unstoppable. Bertha gradually gains more and more acceptance among the old money elites after using the Fanes to assist her build a foothold. She even succeeds in coercing the powerful Mrs. Astor into going to her lavish party toward the end, and it appears that she is rising to prominence. Robber barons, industrialists such as George Russell, whose railroad fortune is staggering, but not socially old enough to have him and his family welcomed by high society, were the driving force behind the real-life Gilded Age. He is merciless in pursuing his financial interests, while also supporting his wife Bertha's aspirations in society. He destroys the city elite with the force of his own wealth when they try to pull out of a business agreement, leaving many people in financial peril and devastating Mr. Morris to the point that he takes his own life. A rogue employee is revealed to be at fault in the derailment of one of George's trains, which also leads to an investigation into the incident ending in his favor. By the conclusion of the season, George and his wife have achieved unprecedented success. For the majority of the season, Bertha Russell defies her mother's rigid regulations. She only wants to be accepted as a young woman in society and stop being treated like a child, but her mother is certain that she can't have her coming out event unless Bertha has the upper class of New York attending. Her parents end her one and only romantic relationship, and Oscar Van Rent pursues her for financial gain. Her coming out ball, when she ultimately decides she's had enough of other people making decisions for her, serves as the season final centerpiece. The son of the Russells spends the majority of the season in the background of his family's existence. He encourages his sister Gladys in her efforts to be less dependent on their parents, and he flirtatiously makes Marian his buddy. He eventually musters the bravery to tell his father the truth. Instead of assuming control of the family's industrial company, he would like to pursue his own architectural career. In the season final, Larry acts as a confidant for Marian, offering to listen to her after her failed engagement and promising to deliver letters to her aunts as needed. Is their friendship solidifying, or is there a hint of anything more? Season 2 will reveal all. The son of Agnes Van Ryn is an endearing but nuanced character. He's harboring two big secrets. He's gay, and his wealth isn't nearly enough to maintain the lifestyle he's chosen. He decides to wed a very wealthy and naive young woman, Bertha Russell, in an attempt to address both issues. He tries to make friends with the envious maid Turner of the Russells, but things don't work out that way. He tries to get Gladys to dance with him at her coming-out ball, but it appears that she is finally realizing that his motives aren't quite what they seem. At first, Tom is the charming but annoying lawyer who follows Marian to New York on a whim in an attempt to pursue her. He also demonstrates skill at using charm to go up the social ladder as he and Marian get closer. In the end, he succeeds in persuading Marian to wed him and elope in order to escape her judgmental aunts. However, he discloses that he has instead decided to wed a wealthy heiress when Marian arrives to flee with him.